Episode 102 of the Hook Podcast. Brailey Jones, Kevin Kissner. Hello, Kev.
How you doing?
I'm good. It's been a kind of crazy day today already. I'm like running like a chicken with my head cut off, but I was ready to get in here and sit down with you and talk to our guest. I'm so excited.
Did you ever feel like you were stuck between a rock and a hard place
I
today?
may have been stuck between a rock and a hard place. I may have been.
Because we have the perfect guest for that if that's the case.
I know, man. Today is going to be a great episode. It's always fun, for the first couple episodes since we've been here at 98.5 KYGO, we said, let's call on our friends. And this was somebody that was on the top of our list. And of course, as soon as I hit him up, he hit me right back and was like, yes, absolutely. You tell me when. I'm there. I got you. And we are close with a lot of people in Nashville, but this guy might be one of our closest friends in Music City. Welcome, Heath Warren, to the podcast. How are you, my friend?
What's up, boys? How we doing?
We are good, man. It's so good to see you, and it's been a minute, but, we're massive fans of you, and, we just had Ben Johnson on, and we had Ben Williams on, and we were talking about how, there's certain people who we have on the show, and we know, and we can say hello when we see them in town, but you're one of our real friends in town.
Hell yeah, man. I love to hear that. We love it when you guys come to town. And I love hitting you up when I'm coming through Denver. So
heck yeah, dude. We missed you when you were here for Brailey at Red Rocks, but I saw your video and I'm like, oh man, I should have came out. I missed the show, but I should have came out and said hello.
It was a good one, man. A quick trip for me, but one I didn't want to miss, that's for sure.
I got to ask, he performs, I saw your video, and he performs Rockin' a Hard Place at Red Rocks. Mm-hmm. And you're just kind of side stage just videotaping that. What's going through your mind the entire time of that?
Man, I've been lucky to see quite a few of Brailey's shows and in a few different markets. But in a place like that, it's hard not to just kind of want to stop time and take it in and, appreciate how far that song has come, how far Brailey's come, and how far I've come since then, so it's been really good, man. But that definitely a marquee moment for me, a good memory for me. So
when you get out there, I've seen you got to propose to your now wife when you were at a Brailey show, and you've seen it in major league ballparks and NFL stadiums. Where does that one chalk up for you when it comes to those Brailey moments in your career?
Well, I definitely get in trouble if I said anything more than the Petco Park one where I got engaged. But so that one sits at the top of the list. But I'd say Red Rocks is a close second for sure. We got lucky with the weather. Denver can always just be a little dicey, especially out there at Red Rocks. But we had a great night, and it was so much fun. And Brailey and the boys put on a great show. Both openers were great. There wasn't a whole lot to complain about, so I put that one at the top of my list for sure.
I have to bring this up because I don't think that you probably remember this, but Kev and I were in town a couple of summers ago, and you were playing around, and we came out. And this is a story we tell to our friends all the time, but there's another podcast, which we have no beef with the other podcast, but they were doing a round, and you were playing, and we came in, and we said, what's up? And you got to Rockin' a Hard Place, and you were strumming along the intro, and you were like, you told the story, and then you're like, also, shout out to my boys from the Hook Podcast who are in the house tonight. And we were like, uh-oh, we don't really want to make anybody mad.
I remember this at Live Oak.
Yeah, Live Oak. Yeah. And that's a story Kevin and I tell all the time that we just laugh and laugh and laugh about. Is that still like the closer in rounds for you every night?
Man, I've been playing so many rounds, but I finish every show with that one. I kind of, I try and switch up my set now as much as I can, especially if I'm playing in Nashville. I tend to get quite a few people come back to shows, so for their sake, I try and change it up. But that is a constant finisher for me.
When I see you in rounds, I'm such a massive fan of all the stuff that maybe is on the way out with somebody or is now out. But, I've seen you play a couple of songs, and one of them I want to get into that I've always been a massive fan of, and I'm so happy that Chase Rice cut it, but Little Red Race Car. The first time I ever saw you play it in a round, I was like, Heath should just cut this because it fits your voice. you can tell that you love that song. What was it like to get it to Chase? And then you guys got to record a video that went on a exclusive record that he put out of you guys playing it in the living room. What was that process like? And what was it like writing that song specifically?
Well, that song means a ton to me, so it would make sense if I were to ever release music. I would probably put that one on a project for sure. Um, I guess just where the inspiration behind that song came from is my 7-year-old boy when he was 2. We were in the middle of the pandemic, and his favorite movie was Cars, and he would just carry around this little Lightning McQueen car everywhere he went. He'd eat, sleep, dream with it, And I started thinking about how I had one of those when I was a kid. It was a Hot Wheels Ferrari F355, and I love that car, So I started thinking about that, and then I was like, well, damn, when I turned 16, my first car was rad too. So I just wanted to, write a song about that theme playing out in my life. And, shortly after I wrote it with Jackson Nance, I played it out at a listening room at a round, and Chase just happened to be there that night. We're all good buddies with him, and if he's in town and not out on the road and we're playing at listening room, he'll come and hang out up in the VIP area. So that night he just happened to be there. I introduced the song, yo, this is new. When we sat down to write it, kind of felt like something I'd like to send to Eric Church. And I played the song. An hour later, we brought Chase up on stage to play one of his hits. And when he got on stage, he's like, hey, man, don't send that song to Eric Church. I'm going to put that on my next record if you let me.
That's awesome.
Yeah, then fast forward a few months, and we went out to the studio, and we cut it. He was nice enough to invite us out. He had the co-writer on the song, Jackson Nance. He had him play the riff that's on the record. And I actually sang the scratch vocal for Chase. And then he cut vocals down the line in the process. But after the record came out, Chase's team hit us up and they were like, yo, Chase wants to do an exclusive songwriters kind of B-sides thing. So I think he tried to get every single co-writer on his record, came out to his house and recorded an acoustic version of their song that ended up on the record. So we were out at Chase's farm one night, and it was crazy just seeing the revolving door of like some of my heroes that are co-writers and some of my best friends and buddies in the industry that ended up with the song on that record. We were all just hanging out at Chase's and just coming in and out, having a drink or two and just waiting for them to, call us up to the couch and play our version of the song. And everybody did a couple takes, but for the most part, man, we just went with it. And that was a really cool thing for Chase to have us be a part of. So I'm grateful for him for many things, but this song especially. So
when
cool.
Chase was going to say, hey, don't send that to anyone, let me cut it, and you had Eric Church in your mind, are you sitting there in that moment be like, oh, like, can you just not cut it?
No, because he doesn't know I don't have Eric Church's phone number. So
oh, there you go.
So the joke was on him. No, I'm kidding. Well, now I have Church's phone number, but I didn't at the time. And he's the perfect fit for the song. That's how I feel about it. And that's how I feel about all of these songs, man. So many just don't ever find a home. So when one does, it's like I'm still a new songwriter. It's still a new feeling for me, like I celebrate every cut.
There's a song that sits in my phone that you wrote that you sang the demo on. There's 2 of them that don't have a home that I listen to all the time that I just wish somebody would cut, that just float around in my phone all the time, that I've gotten from some of your co-writers. So I love to hear some of that stuff that just isn't out there, that just needs a home. What
2 songs do you have?
Every Heart I Mess With, which is one of my absolute favorites. And I'm trying to think what the other one is. I have one more. I Met a Girl. Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, I think I promised you guys I'd send you a link to some of my demos, so I'll make sure I get that over to you. But
Absolutely.
man, I appreciate that, dude.
I'm
Thanks.
a demo king. It's funny. I was just talking to somebody last night at an event, a local songwriter, and I said, "Man, I love demos." And he sent me a SoundCloud link of some stuff, and I was like, "When there's something that hits, even though it's not fully produced, like Every Heart I Mess With is a song that is just literally an iPhone on a table. You can hear it, and
Yeah.
I jam that thing in my car all the time."
Hell yeah. Dude, that means a lot. That's
Well,
great.
there's times you've sent me some of Heath's demos. You're like, guess who this is? I'm like, I don't know, but that works. And you're like, that's Heath. I'm like, no way. then I'm thinking, I'm like, that's not fair because one, he's good looking. He's probably the best looking songwriter in the history of songwriting. And then he can sing too. Like, that's just not fair, man.
I have plenty of flaws. Don't worry.
Let's go into Brailey Zimmerman. What is it like writing with him now that you've kind of built a relationship with him?
Man, Bailey's come so far in so many ways, dude. He's just growing up in front of everyone now, and he's handling it like an absolute pro. I don't know if it's just my algorithm or my feed, but I feel like every time I open up my phone, he's in the news, and it's for something good. And what more could you want? You know, I know he's worked his ass off to get here, and he hasn't let up on how important it is to make sure everything is perfect along the way. And I think any artist that pays attention to detail like that and then can go out and walk the walk is, you know, it's rare territory. He was lucky enough to go to Morgan Wallen Touring School 101, and I think he embraced every moment of that and has taken it with him. But as far as the writing process goes, with Brailey, it's tough because, you know, when you're in the songwriting machine on Music Row, we could write a pop country song or just a country song, whatever, and you could probably send it to at least 5 different artists that it would work for. Brailey's just not that kind of artist. What he's doing, what Austin Sean has created in his sound sonically on the production side, and what you can do with his voice, it's so unique that I kind of throw everything out the window that I know about songwriting and try and really come in with those guys as open-minded as possible because of what I know it can turn into on the back end. So that's probably my biggest takeaway with collaborating with those guys. But you know, I think with most artists, when you get into a room with them, you're really hoping they know what they want to say and how they want to say it. And for this new Brailey record in particular, I think it took us the entire 2.5 years to really figure out what that was for Brailey. And that's what I mean about him being a perfectionist. It's not that we weren't writing great songs. They just weren't the songs that he wanted to be the vessel for. And him pushing the envelope for us as writers was the thing that I think makes this record so special. So I feel lucky to have a few on there, and I'm also happy that we can all just kind of breathe out and call it done and move on to the next thing. But it was a process for this record, and I'm just really proud of Brailey and his team, and you know, I'm looking forward to see what happens the rest of the run for this record.
I love New to Country. And as somebody who came up in the rock world, but grew up in the middle of nowhere in South Dakota, the first time I heard that, I didn't even know you were a writer on it. I literally heard it the first time. I heard a snippet of it, and I was like, I love that song. Like, what a killer concept. And then I see that you're in it, and then I see the open of the show with it, and I'm like, that is just a perfect way to start the show. For you, what was that process like? Because it really is like hey, I know that you don't think I'm country, but I've been here the whole time.
Yeah, I think after Religiously had kind of done its thing, and we're in the middle of figuring out what the next step is. Like Religiously, the album was still being consumed at a crazy rate, but he was needing to put new singles out, and put a few song feelers out to radio to see what he was going to follow up some of those last singles with. And Chief, one of his managers had hit us up and was like, man, we really need to kind of step out of the box and give these fans what they're asking for from Brailey, the truck kid from TikTok, because what he hadn't done yet was anything talking about lifestyle country. It was all, relationships. A lot of it was breakup stuff, and which is awesome, and he's so good at that. But we knew it was going to take a little bit of nudging and getting the song perfect for Brailey to even like really be on board with what we were constructing. But once we got it there, man, Chief was a great champion for that song. Austin Sean was a great champion for that song. Obviously, he was one of the co-writers on it and a producer, but the producer. But even just convincing Brailey, like, hey, man, like, you can sell this lyric, you can deliver this lyric. This is your story. That's why we wrote it so deliberately about you, who you are, and also kind of the shit that people talk to you on the internet about, like. Don't tell me I'm not country. Like, I'm the epitome of it. I'm the definition of country. So, we wanted to write something autobiographical for him. And Austin already had that riff built into a track. And me and Jacob Hackworth went over to Austin's studio, and we did like a 9-hour top line over that track to figure out what the lifestyle country BZ thing was supposed to feel and sound like. So we took our time, not because every line is so brilliant, but just because it was deliberately built for Brailey. So, and even the New to Country title, that hook, the way we hooked it, that wasn't like a title in anyone's phone or anything. We wrote up to the hook, and Hackworth was just kind of firing off like the get the boy out of the truck, hit the boy out of the mud, put him up in the PJ. He'll still try to get the 40 stuck. Hack was just like on fire like that, and it just kind of felt like, oh man, this is his anthem to tell people who don't believe he's country, middle finger in the air kind of situation. So we landed that hook, and I think that's when at least the three of us in the room that day knew it was going to be special. And finally, when it came out, and since then, I feel like he's really kind of shoved it down everybody's throats, the way that song deserves to be performed. So, man, I love that song.
Well, it's so big already, and now it's on the video game Madden.
Yeah, that's a dream come true.
I was just going to say, I mean, we all grew up playing Madden, and now you have your own song on there. It's kind of got to feel cool.
Yeah, I'm a big football fan. As you guys know, we chat football every once in a while, and I'm also a Bronco fan, so we have that in common. But yeah, I think every kid kind of dreams of being in the game. I probably dreamt of being a quarterback in the game, but I think second to that would be having a song in the game, which is pretty badass. And that soundtrack they put together is killer. So I haven't bought the game yet. I know I will. I've been heavy into NHL on Xbox lately. So I'm sure once we kick off the football season here in a couple weeks, I'll be knee deep in Madden.
So with the Brailey camp and the new record, you've got Shelby Silverado. And I feel like that was the last one that we got before the record came out. And I feel like that was the real first kind of taste of, outside of Holy Smokes and New to Country, what the record was gonna sound like. And I think that really kicked off this record cycle for Brailey. What was it like writing that song? And Is that one that's special to you as you look forward to what's that next Brailey single?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's my favorite song on the record that I got to be a part of, at least. And that we wrote that one early in the early stages of this new record phase for him. And when we wrote it, Brailey, he's always just kind of flying by the seat of his pants, and he's busy as hell
No, you
anyway.
don't say.
He called me. He called me on like a Monday at like 4:30 and was like, "Hey, bro, you're coming over at 6 tonight, and we're writing this song." And I had to call Brandis, my wife, and I'm like, "Hey, I'm not coming home after this session. I'm just gonna drive out to Brentwood and write this song with Brailey." And obviously, she's like, "Yeah, go ahead." But it wasn't the first time I'd done that with Brailey and the crew. And when I walked in the door, I didn't really know what I was walking into, but I knew that he had an idea that he was really passionate about. And it was my first time working with Ilse Juber and Tucker Bethard, and I've been a fan of theirs for a long time. So when I walked in, it was nice to see them because I knew we were in good hands with whatever we were going to work on. But Brailey kind of told us this story of this truck that meant a lot to him when he turned 16, and again, kind of going back to like Little Red Race Car. It's funny how cars can play this like nostalgic thematic role in our lives. It's kind of like this this machine full of memories, and we really wanted to capture that in that lyric and in that story for Brailey. And he just kind of told us a bunch of stories and told us a little bit about this girl that he felt like was the first girl he ever loved. And I think it's a topic that so many people can relate to. Really, the only thing super personal about it is the color and the make of the truck. So we did that for Brailey, man, and I think he crushed it. Austin spent a lot of time figuring out the direction on the production for that one, because even like the work tape version, I think I sang on the first work tape and it just sounded like dog trash. And Tucker went home with that work tape and he built like an acoustic vocal demo that he and Brailey have had a lot of success with. So Tucker sent that to us, and it just kind of changed the whole vision of the song for me sonically. When he sent us his work tape, it was just like it was captivating. And I think that was when I realized the song was special and that we did it. And like I said, that was the first song I wrote on this new project, and that was almost 3 years ago. So I think it did a lot for me too, for the direction of the record. So it's cool that it came across that way to consumers when it was finally coming out.
Now I got to ask, I've been to a Brailey show. Brailey, you've been to a Brailey show. Heath, Brailey. What does the dude do before every concert? Like, does he drink like 5 energy drinks? Because he has so much energy running out. Now he's jumping on a rope, flying through the air. Is there something we're missing here?
Man, he's that way when he wakes up in the morning. It's not an energy drink. It's not anything, man. I've never really met anyone with that kind of personality and that kind of energy, but it's one thing I see often. People call him a golden retriever.
Yeah, somebody called him a labradoodle.
Yeah, and he's got a couple Goldens, and it is funny. He has that kind of personality, man. It's passionate. It's excited and happy, and I think that's something people latch onto as fans of his, because it's just super positive. Even though I've never seen anybody play 90-minute set full of sad ass songs and look so happy doing it, and everyone at the concert's just having so much fun, and all these songs are so damn sad, and it's the coolest thing for a country music songwriter to be able to witness, because those are the songs we love to write the most. He's such a good vessel for it, and his band and everyone's they put together such a great production to be able to give that to people. So it's cool, man.
The first time he ever played out here, it was early on, and he opened a show with Nate Smith and Dustin Lynch.
Was that the
And
Whiskey Jam outdoor stage thing?
No, it was our KYGO birthday bash. We did a big show that first summer that Nate and Brailey were really out, and he was not prepared for the altitude. And so he got about 6 songs in of running around, and he had sweat through his shirt, and he was breathing real hard. So he ran off stage, and he completely changed his clothes. And then somebody gave him some oxygen, and then he came right back out, and he was like he was a new man.
Yeah. I mean, I grew up at altitude too, so it's a real thing. Early on, I saw him learn a bunch of tough lessons. Yeah, about that. But it's funny, he hasn't really toned anything down. I think he's just used the energy differently. And he's just in shape for it now. But I'm glad he hasn't dialed that back at all.
Yeah, he's one of the best performers in country music. There's no doubt about that. A guy we've had on, Hayden Kaufman, you have a song with him, Another Girl, Another Bar. Tell us about that concept and how that really came together.
Yeah, I wrote that with Hayden and Ethan Eskew, and I met Hayden through Ethan. I'm a big fan of Hayden and everything he's got going on. I think he's just awesome, super talented. He's a great guy, and he works his butt off too. He's doing like college parties and playing. He's playing all the gigs that all of us that came from bands grew up playing, the things you had to say yes to, and then you end up blowing people away and you leave with 150 new fans. So I love what Hayden's up to, but Ethan is the type of co-writer that he's young, he's hungry, he's got a chip on his shoulder. He's excited about the opportunity to write songs. So I love working with Ethan because he always brings ideas to the room. So I think he and Hayden had already kind of started that chorus idea together, and also I think we wrote 2 songs in this session, if I remember correctly. But that was one that just kind of it did stick out in that session where we're just like, man, it just feels like a single. It kind of falls into that category where you could probably pitch that song to 10 different people that it would work for. I think they pitched it around a little bit, but Hayden wanted to champion that record for himself. So I'm glad he kept it. And again, I feel lucky to have a cut. So we celebrate it.
One of my favorite artists right now is Tyler Braden. And I've been a massive Tyler fan since Secrets and that first kind of EP that he put out during COVID when he's playing in the room by himself with his band. And you've got a couple of songs with Tyler, and I want to dive into Might Be Dangerous because I feel like that's a song that when the record came out, it wasn't the fastest song on the record. And now I continue to see it. And a lot of people who are coming to country are like, hey, have you heard this song by Tyler Braden? And I'm like, yes, I have. And a friend of mine wrote that. Can we dive into both of those Tyler songs that you have right now?
Yeah, totally. Man, the Might Be Dangerous song got put on hold by Tyler pretty quickly after I turned it in. Another collaborator and good friend of mine that I work with a lot is Sam Martinez, and Sam produced the entire Tyler Braden record. And I wrote Dangerous. I want to name all the co-writers, but I know I'll mess it up. But when we wrote that song, immediately we were like, okay, this concept feels a lot like a duet. Everyone knows duets in country music do super well. not just with consumption, but radio spins. If you're lucky enough to have one go to radio, nothing spins like a duet does. So, yeah, we really wanted to kind of knock that part of the concept out in a room full of guys trying to figure out, whoa, what's the second verse from the girl's perspective? We don't even know what girl we're going to have come and sing on the demo yet. But when we got that demo back, it sounded so damn good. And I don't know, I want to say maybe we had like Clara Park or Carter Faith sing on the demo, and it was like lights out. And so was the male vocal. And when Tyler put it on hold, I'd been a fan of Tyler's voice for a while, but I hadn't worked with him yet, hadn't met him yet, and it felt like the right fit. As long as they could find the right girl for it, I feel like Tyler's such a good performer with his vocal, and I just believe him every time he sings. So I'm excited to see what ends up happening with that song. I know they gave it kind of a heavy push right off the rip when the record came out, and I haven't really paid too much attention since then, kind of on purpose. I try and just kind of leave it to the wind a little bit. But man, if that song can have a little journey and find its way, I think it's such a great story and a great record for country music. So hopefully it finds its way.
Great group of writers too. You, Kyle Sturrock, who I'm a massive fan of.
Dude,
I
Kyle is
love
like
the stuff that he keeps putting on TikTok. I'm like, dude, I need just these demos. Like, I just want them in my phone.
Yeah, dude, I got a few with Kyle I'll send your way that I love riding with Kyle Sturrock. I'm with you, bro. I'm a huge fan of his. Every time I'm in the room with him, I want him to sing on the demo because his voice is so damn good. And he's a great writer. He really pushes for the best line. And who else is on that with me?
Micah Carpenter and Zach Cale.
That's right. Yeah. Micah, Mackenzie Carpenter's brother, exceptional musician, exceptional writer, and just a great hang, like overall one of the best dudes. And Zach Cale, his track record is unbelievable. But Zach was really the one that kind of brought that song to life, man. He built the track, he sang on it, and I heard it back and I was like, well, Jesus, I didn't know we got Chris Stapleton to sing on the demo. This is crazy. So, yeah, cheers to Zach on that because he really crushed it.
And I love More Than a Prayer. And I had a note in my phone and I was like, this could be the next time that they reboot Footloose. They need to put this in Footloose. I don't know why that came to mind, but I always think of these movies that they reboot, and I'm like, that would be a great song for a movie soundtrack.
I'd love that. Anytime you get a song in a movie, it's a good thing.
Heck yeah. How did that one come about? Because that one there's something about that breakdown in the chorus where he's just ripping it, and you just got that simple drum beat behind him. Was that how the demo was, or is that something that they produced later and blew you away?
So what's cool about that one is me and Devin Dawson wrote that with Sam Martinez, and Sam was producing Tyler's record. And so he had his finger on the pulse of what Tyler really needed. We weren't necessarily writing for Tyler that day, which I'm thankful to Sam for not putting us in that box saying, oh, we got to write for Tyler, because sometimes you just overthink it. He played us that track, and it was pretty much produced the way that you hear it on the album. And Devin and I both just jumped out of our seat right away. We were like, yeah, we got to write over that. That feels like soul, like Southern soul, and all like gospel something.
Oh, yeah.
How do we not screw this up lyrically? And to be honest, and I don't necessarily love when songwriters share this, but for that song, I feel like we wrote it in about 20 minutes, 25 minutes. But Devin and I were just kind of firing off, and Sam has such a great ear, and he's a great melody guy too. So he'll just turn around and be like, what if it falls like this? What if we, have an inflection here and there? And he had such a good vision for it. So that one came together pretty quickly. And it was another one, Sam showed it to Tyler right away, and Tyler wanted that song. Tyler's had so much success on this new record with these really deep, gospel leaning lyrics and feel, and he's got so much soul and depth in his voice that that song just fits him so perfectly. So I wish it would get a little bit more love on the radio with some of these other ones, but that's not a part of my job. So I'm just happy that it's on there, and I'm happy it got to Tyler because he really delivered the hell out of it. So
now you just said one of those songs took like 20 something minutes to write. Have you ever had a song where you're like, I love this idea, I love this concept, but it's taken us so long to write it that maybe you just kind of scrap it, or do you still try to squeeze out as much as you can with it, hoping that it turns out to be something?
For me, that happens all the time. I feel like, anything that is a special idea deserves a special amount of attention. And that doesn't mean you're going to get it right all the time. Doesn't mean that you shared it with the right room. Doesn't mean that, it's your day to, connect with that type of story to tell. So sometimes, yeah, you beat it to death and then you're just like, geez, this isn't what I pictured. And sometimes a song comes out of it and, that's really throwing away the idea. That's like the sad part is, oh, we finished it because we beat it to death and just wanted to be done. Because now you can't get it back. But, sometimes the right room can kind of look at it after you've kind of made it come out of the dressing room and do a few turns and you still can't quite see it, everyone will be like, oh, let's just move on to another idea. So, yeah, that certainly happens all the time.
Have you ever had some really good ideas and you're like, I might want to save it for a different writing room? Maybe it's on Friday and it's a Tuesday and I'm writing with these guys. I might not know them very well, but I want to save my best ideas for a different write. Do you songwriters in Nashville kind of do that? Or is it like, let's just every day come out with our best stuff every room?
No, I think you have to be strategic with everything. I try and take a peek at my calendar on Sunday and just, look at the week I have ahead of me and who I'm going to be in rooms with. And I always try and bring an idea. And sometimes it might be a concept and a melody and a lyric, or sometimes just the concept with, the turn and whatever my vision is for the setup line. But yeah, I think you have to be strategic or else you're not playing your cards right. And, the songwriting game is just a big game of poker anyway. So I think knowing how to utilize and harness the things that you have and saving them for the right room is important.
Is there anybody that has been on your calendar recently or is coming up on your calendar that you're really, really looking forward to writing with that you haven't in a while that you're a fan of?
Man, I feel lucky like all the time. I try and remind myself every day I get to walk into a writing room to be grateful that I have anyone to write with, first of all. But man, over the last few years, it's been wild. It's been so crazy to walk into some of these rooms and see my peers and how the hell I got there. It's cool. It'd be hard not to mention Jessie Alexander. I've been writing with her quite a bit over the last few years, and I'm just such a fan of hers. And learning from her and trying to be a sponge in the room and see what she does so well and why it works for her has been really cool. You know, anytime you see like Warren Brothers or Wendell Mobley or Randy Montana, anyone like that you see on your calendar coming up, it's hard not to just get really excited and also kind of feel the pressure come on, and you start looking through your ideas and you know, trying to make sure you bring your gun to the gunfight so you can, you know, have something to show those guys. And you know, it's not like you have anything to prove. I think the job is the job at the end of the day. It's we got to write the best song in town. There, you know, leave your ego at the door. It's not about it being my idea or me proving myself to these guys I deserve to be in the room. I'm in the room, so you know, I try and maintain that perspective. But I also, you know, sometimes I'm like an hour and a half in, and I'm like, holy shit, I'm riding with Jesse Alexander right now. This is so crazy. So it's cool. And I didn't mention a lot of people that I feel so lucky to write with. You know, the list is long. I feel very lucky.
One of our really good friends and the person who kind of put us together, Rotundo, who
Yeah.
might be one of our favorite people in town as well. Also, one of the most random humans I've ever met in my life. You have
Yep.
a song on his record, and I love to see what he's been working on and how hard he's pushed to get to where he is. And you have a song you've been playing in rounds forever called Drink Sometime. And I had seen somebody else put out that same title like a year ago, and I went and listened to it, and I was like, why do I have this lyric stuck in my head? And I kept singing it in my head. I was like, this is not the same song. And then when Rotundo sent me the demo, I was like, there it is. It came from Heath. I do know this. Can we talk about that one real quick? Because
Yeah.
that's a song that I don't think most of our listeners won't know of, but also I think could easily be a song that could take off in a heartbeat.
Yeah, that was one that me and Hackworth wrote for the Morgan project. Another tune that just kind of came out pretty quickly in the writing room. We were writing with Preston Free, who, if anyone is a fan of Jackson Free, probably the youngest, most talented songwriter coming up in Nashville right now. His younger brother Preston was in the room with us that day, and Preston is just a crazy good musician. He's one of those guys where if you just asked him to play anything, he would already know how to play it, and he already has all the lyrics memorized, you know? And there's a skill set to that, because what you end up latching onto as a writer when you have that in your back pocket is all the tendencies of hit songs, because you've learned from all these songs that everyone knows. So when you're starting from scratch, you can't help but pull from your influence, you know? So anyway, we, you know, between me and Hackworth, we must have written 100 some songs for this Morgan Wallen record. He got one on there. I didn't get anything on there. And, you know, that's just, it was the toughest album in town. But, you know, for good measure, that the whole thing top to bottom is so good. But yeah, that song kind of sat in our back pocket for a little bit. And obviously we're so close with Rotundo that when Rotundo started working on his record, you know, it was a good opportunity for him and Hackworth to jump on the track together. And, you know, with all that being said, I'm so excited for Rotundo. He's worked so hard, and he's just been through a lot and has doubled down on himself. And I can't help but respect anyone that does that in this industry. So I'm proud of him. And, you know, anyone that's a fan of that should be a fan of his and should go and stream his music. Go listen to that record top to bottom. It's so good. He's got some great features on there too. And he's such a funny guy, but also such a talented guy. So if you're a fan of Sam Hunt, or, you know, that style of country, not to put him in a box because he isn't Sam Hunt, but he delivers a lyric and tells a story a lot like Sam has in the past, and I'm a big fan of that.
Probably the one and only person on the face of the earth of himself. I mean, there's no one really like him. It blows my mind. His TikToks are, oh my gosh, I don't know how they haven't hit 1 million streams on every single video that he's put out.
But the one that did
So
blow
funny.
up was the one that blew up of him trying to get in the fridge. What was funny about that was my wife goes, people think that he's joking around, but that is Rotundo to a T.
He's
and
being
you
dead
know
serious.
he was mad.
Yeah. Yeah. He's like, you know what? Hold my phone. I have to get this off my chest. It's so good. He texted me today, and actually I'm in a group chat with Rotundo, Hackworth, Daniel Ross, hit songwriter, Sam Shelton, Hackworth's manager, publisher, and Eric Van Houten. And we basically just run a couple bits together where like everybody films themselves and we act like super successful business entrepreneurs with online accounts that talk about, this is what you need to do with your money. Do you want to live this life? You like click the link below. I'm going to change your life today. So we all just we start the day with sending videos like that back and forth to each other. And Rotundo's always hot on the mic. It's so good.
It's funny
so
because
good.
I just brought this up the 2 episodes ago with Ben Williams, and I brought it up with Ben Johnson the other day. I said, I need you guys to give me your Jelly Roll acceptance speech. And it all stemmed from that video of him and Dylan Schneider driving around in the Iron Man mask on Demumbrian, yelling out at the people on the patio at tailgate their Jelly Roll acceptance speech. So you have to give us one as well.
A Jelly Roll acceptance speech. Oh my gosh. This is really on the spot. And knowing that both Bens did one, I feel even more pressure because they're both so good. But I'll use my Yeti as my trophy. And here we go. I would just like to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Everything begins with him. Everything ends with him. And I'm so grateful for the journey I'm on. I'm excited to be a part of the country music community of Nashville, be accepted in it, and be changing the world one song at a time. I'd like to thank my wife, Bunny, for being the sweetheart and firecracker that she is. I'd like to thank my band, my publisher, my label, and I'd like to thank the fans of country music for getting me here. Antioch, shout out Antioch. Started from the bottom, now we're here. I'm Jelly Roll. Peace out. God bless you.
That one is great.
That's
Ben Williams was pretty good too. He did the yell. He's like, you know, you could be making things up with your friends and you could be here. Congratulations. Or something. I mean, it was ridiculous.
That's amazing. That's great.
I could just see him, Rotundo, all you guys walking down around the roundabout with an Iron Man mask on, a Spider-Man mask on, a Batman mask on. Maybe you guys get straight to tailgate and just start playing 20 cigarettes or something.
Yeah. That sounds like we got to make it happen. Next time you guys are in town, bring us some masks and we'll buy the beers.
That's what we're doing. I love it. I love it. Plus, you never know where Rotundo's going to be. I'm in the back of Losers at 1:30 in the morning, and in walks Rotundo and Alan Geiger, of all people, as usual. Yeah. And then I had to have an awkward, long, like 35-second hug with Rotundo because he wouldn't let me go.
Crocs, shorts, a camo tee, and a cigarette in his mouth.
And then he disappears at the end of the night.
Yeah.
You have to look at him on Find My to figure out where the heck he went.
One name that's popped up a bunch is Jacob Hackworth. I mean, this guy, every time you look at the song credits now, he's popping up more and more. What's it like writing with him, and what kind of potential does this guy have?
Man, I think if you guys want to be ahead of everyone, then you would become a fan of Jacob Hackworth right now, and just say, man, I was first to the table, because he's about to he's about to really burst on the scene, I think, and get an opportunity to do the artist thing. Me, Rotundo, and Hackworth all became friends back in 2019. And, you know, I think we all just cut our teeth together and all kind of brought something to the table for each other as well, as far as, you know, chasing this dream and trying to, you know, figure out how to do it and do it well, do it right, and stand out, you know, amongst, you know, a town full of talent. It's not an easy thing to do, but I'd say it's near impossible to do alone. And Jacob is just one of those guys that I'm super grateful to call a friend. And also, I'm lucky enough to work with him, you know, so much. And we've just done so much together. Obviously, Rockin' a Hard Place was our first, you know, notch on our belt, so to speak, as far as, you know, getting recognized in town and you know, now, you know, with everyone that listens to country music. But Jacob just really hasn't taken his foot off the pedal. After Rockin' a Hard Place, we all signed our deals, and Jacob chose to sign at 2 joint ventures that are attached to Warner Chappell. One of them being Goat Island, which is owned and run by a Music Row legend, Cos Weaver. There isn't a person in Nashville that doesn't know who Cos is and doesn't love him and respect him. And he also signed to Boom Music Group, which is owned by Music Row legend Joe Fisher. And between Cos Weaver and Joe Fisher, you know, Jacob is just in great hands in the publishing side of things, not to mention also the Warner Chappell family. But Cos has a guy named Sam Shelton that works for him that is just a hustler of good songs that he believes in. He represents Jackson Free and Jacob Hackworth. So his rap sheet for the last 3 years already has 5 number ones. And they're probably about to have a 6th with the Kane Brown single at radio right now. So that kind of like speaks for itself on Sam Shelton's side and their ability to recognize talent and then champion good songs. Great songs, I should say. And then at Boom, there's a publisher named Shayna Botwin that works under Joe Fisher. And I don't know of, you know, a JV publisher, which, you know, essentially just means it's a small company. I think Boom probably has 5 writers, and all 5 writers like Rodney Clausen, Chris Tompkins, Jacob Hackworth. They have Zach John King. Like, you know, like they just like they're making all the right choices right now. And Shayna has just worked her ass off on pitching Jacob Hackworth songs all over town. And you know, he can't really miss right now, and he deserves it. So proud of Jacob, just as a songwriter, but now he's putting out his own music. We were just in Denver. I can't remember when that was when I hit you guys up. We were on the road with Tucker Wetmore. But we got a studio in Denver for 3 days and just hunkered down and wrote for 3 days. And one of the songs that we wrote during that trip, he already put out. He just put out a few weeks ago, and hopefully more to come from that trip. Yeah, I would keep your head on a swivel for Jacob Hackworth because he's coming.
One more song I want to talk about before we let you go, but I would be remiss if we didn't talk about somebody who I was a massive fan of from far away, and somebody who meant a lot to you, and that's former Warner Chappell president Ben Vaughn. And I'd love for you to talk about the impact of Ben on your career. I know that after the first time you were on the show, you sent me a screenshot like the morning after we put the episode out. And it was a text from Ben, and it said, "Hey man, listen to the podcast. It was great. Tell those guys great job." And I reached out and I was like, "Hey, Keith sent me what you'd said. I really appreciate it. I'd love to connect. And he reached out to me and couldn't have been nicer. And when we were looking at maybe making a transition to town, I asked a bunch of questions and he couldn't have been a better human. I'd love for you to talk about your relationship with him and what his impact was on you.
Well, I think what you just said says a lot about the type of human that Ben was to everyone. He was such an advocate for songwriters in Nashville, and a true believer in songs, which is everything you want in a publisher. And I could go on for a while about Ben when it comes to music, but I think the best thing I could say, which seems to resonate with everyone that knew Ben, is just how incredibly selfless he was to everyone and how supportive he was to everyone. I've been around a lot of different types of leaders in my life. Growing up, my dad was a high school football coach, and when you grow up in a house like that, leadership is just kind of like the foundation of everything, and you get to witness a personality type that I think is almost like watching Denzel Washington movies. Like you can't help but like root for him and like want to do right by that guy, or you just want him to win. And I've worked for different CEOs and owners of companies when I had day jobs, and watching the way those guys lead, some of them great, some of them not great, and seeing how people respond to that type of leadership. When it comes to Ben Vaughn, I've never been around a better leader. Someone who was just trying to put all of his people in the right position to succeed. And when they did, he gave them all the credit. He was never gloating about Warner Chappell being the best publishing team on the row or in the world, or however you want to look at it. Because it's a competitive business, but not like that. And Nashville's not that way anyway. And I think it's because of Ben Vaughn. I think he was around long enough in a presidential role to be able to leave that type of impact on so many leaders in town, which I think makes our world a much better place for people to absorb that kind of energy from someone that's in charge. I always just call it macro. He's like the most macro boss I've ever seen, where he didn't want to get in the way or control any of his peers. He wanted to believe in them, let them take their own route, and then be there to help them when things didn't go right, and then be there at the finish line when it did. And I just had so much respect for him and who he was. And, it's been sad and a tough thing to, pick up and keep going and keep writing songs without him in the building every day. Is you can feel his absence. I think we all feel his absence. But also, with that being said, knowing Ben, he wouldn't have wanted anyone to stop writing. I think it was always about showing up and doing the job. And I learned a lot from him. I'm grateful that I got to, chase this thing with him. He was my first publisher. He gave me my first publishing deal, and I'll never forget him.
One more song I want to talk about before I let you go. You mentioned Zach John King, and I've become good friends with Baker Blankenship, and we do some photo work together. And I just did his latest album release, or his latest tour release photo for them.
Cool.
And you have a song with those two, And Baker's an interesting cat, and so is Zach. And so, can we talk about Life Behind Bars real quick?
Yeah, dude. Zach is so sick. He's just got that thing, man. And I think you can see it right now if you're paying attention to the Morgan Wallen tour. Zach is embracing that opportunity with everything he's got, and he deserves to be there. And it's really cool to see him get the opportunity, and also see so many people latch onto an artist that, you know, he's not really been like a highway find on XM radio yet. He hasn't even like really been putting music out long enough. That doesn't mean he hasn't been chasing this for a while or touring with a band or playing shows, because he comes from that background. But like, man, he's a pure songwriter in the room. He really, everything he does is with intention. And for that song in particular, it was just me, ZJK, and Jordan Reynolds. And Jordan's another one of those guys where if I see him on my calendar, I'm like, dude, how am I this lucky to be able to do this today? You know, I'm so grateful. So that day, you know, we had that idea. I think it was Zach's idea, and you know, you can kind of see the finish line. We all saw the finish line clearly from the get-go. But it was such a fun write. I didn't really know what Zach's plan was for music when we wrote it. So when he hit us up and was like, yo, I'm going to put this thing out. I love this song. I think it's perfect for what I want to say, and what I need on my record is this small town lifestyle shit that I grew up on. And then when he hit us up and he was like, yo, we're going to do a duet on this, I was like, why are we putting a girl on the second verse of this song? This song is like way too tough. And then I found out it was going to be Baker. I had just finished playing a festival in Tampa called Country Thunder, and Baker was playing on that. So we had a great hang in the green room and had a fun ass night. And so I got to hang with him, and then I think like 2 weeks later we found out he was going to be on that song. And I think it's the perfect duet for two small town country boys to, you know, kind of make it their anthem. So I feel really proud of that one, and it had some like really great steam when it came out, and you know, hopefully it just keeps on going. And I really believe in Zach, so we'll see what happens with him. But he's another guy. You guys jump on that train early.
There's a lyric in there: help yourself beers, but bring your own Jack. And I was like, that is the small town backyard barn party emphasis right there.
That's right, bro.
Man, well, we really appreciate you as always. You know, we love what you're doing. You know, we'll always call you when we're in town. You're one of our favorite people in the world, and we appreciate your love to us as always. And
hell yeah,
dude, thank you so much for joining us once again.
Thanks, boys. Appreciate you. Proud of you. Congrats on all the new stuff, and excited to be a part of this new venture. Keep on rolling, man. And I hope to see you guys soon.
Heath Warren on episode 102 of the Hook Podcast, one of our best friends on Music Row. And Kev, I love getting a chance to talk to Heath always, because he's always got something going on. If you don't follow Heath on social, you should, because he's always got awesome videos of Brailey singing his songs, which kills me every time.
Yeah, anytime there's a Brailey Zimmerman song out, I always look to make sure Heath was on that. And anytime Heath is on a song, on a record, you know it's going to be good. So we're really excited what he's got in the future. I feel like there's more number ones coming his way. Yeah,
I think so too. Man, Kev, we've got a lot of cool guests coming up. I'm insanely excited. If you haven't checked out the first couple episodes, you can head over to kyjo.com, or you can check us out on anywhere you listen to podcasts. Check out the Ben Williams episode. Check out the Ben Johnson episode. Coming up, Zach Abend is going to be on the show. He's been producing the new Hardy record.
I can't wait to hear. Well, we got an early access to the last time there was a record out for Hardy. You think we could get some access to this one?
I think we could. It's coming out in a couple of weeks. So Zach and Ben going to be on the show. Going to talk to him about his time with Nate Smith and Hardy and more. My name is Brailey Jones. Kevin Kissner. We are the Hook Podcast. here on 98.5 KYGO, and we'll see you next week.